Chad Kamin lives in downtown Des Moines and works as a teacher in Winterset. He did his doctoral work in San Francisco in sexuality and teaches college courses on a multitude of topics. He was involved in developing the national guidelines on sex education and AIDS awareness. This is exciting because this is our first duo presentation, which is very cool. Braxton Pulley, over here, Chad over here. Braxton practices as a chiropractor in the East Village of the Des Moines. I highly recommend him. He fixed my back. He is heavily involved in nonprofit organizations. Sorry, I shouldn't. I just promoted. Works as a national speaker in business development and a company out of Clyde. So let's give him a big round of applause, you guys.
Time marches forward. It marches from the beginning of time to the end of time. And after that introduction, you probably thought I was going to talk about sexuality. I'm talking about time. All right, class, take out a piece of paper. Draw a timeline. It has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has the dread of the end of time. I do not want time to end. You know, her days are numbered. I hate to tell you this, all of our days are numbered. Some of you just get higher numbers than the rest of us. And judging the crowd, statistically, I got the fewest numbers around. We have created things that make time everlasting. We have heaven, we have reincarnation. We have the merging of that great oversoul, of all the energy that animates the universe. We have pretty images. We hear about somebody that, well, they're now playing with Jesus. Or they're up gardening in God's heaven. Or, you know, in the words of Sweet Honey in the Rock, knowing it was going to be webcast, I have to give them credit. Those who have died have never left. The dead are not under the earth. They are in the rustling trees. They are in the groaning woods. They are in the crying grass. They are in the moaning rocks. The dead are not under the earth. We have a lot of things that we think about with time. Have you ever thought about where were you before you were born? We have the dread of thinking about where we go after we die, but where were you before you were born? Were you in heaven's nursery? Were you in pre-incarnation? Where was your soul during the Civil War or when the Taj Mahal was being built? Where were you? And why don't we worry about that, but we do worry about the dread of the end of time? But you know what? That deals with the philosophy of time. We really want to talk about tonight.
Well, we're also going to be talking a bit about the science of time. And this is something that, when I was talking with Sarah about doing this, something that I have been very passionate about, is wondering, what is time? And I started talking with my friend Chad here, and we have our very different places in our life, and I wanted to marry the combination of where he's at, the thoughts that he has, with just the wonder I have about what is time. I mean, think about this. This is stuff that we get scared about. This is stuff that runs our lives. It is, we always wonder, oh my gosh, time. I gotta get there, I gotta get there, I gotta get there, I gotta get there. But do you ever wonder, what is it? Where does it come from? What is this idea of time? And part of that, it seems to me, has always been that time is a construct. Something that we as mankind have created as a way to mark the passing of events. It's been going on since time immemorial. They've been thinking about this for quite a while, a lot of time. But it doesn't seem quite complete. It doesn't seem like it's all there. Even after our great philosophers have been talking about the aspects, the wonder, the joy, the sorrow, the fear of time, we have not answered, what the heck is it? I mean, how would you go about defining what time really is? And this has been really messing with my head quite a bit lately. Because as I've been reading a lot of different books on astrophysics, particle physics, so on and so forth, yes, I'm kind of a geek like that. Here's what's interesting. In the basic fundamental properties of the universe, right now, they are not finding time. That apparently time is not a physical property, a fundamental physical property of the universe. So maybe it is just a construct. In fact, some of the people who are working at the Hadron Collider, they're trying to figure out what is time, because scientists don't know. They don't know what time is. I mean, think about that. That's just crazy. They don't know. I mean, it's like, okay, it's not a fundamental property, but it definitely exists, does it? And then we take a look here. We know that time can be altered. And that lends some really interesting thoughts that this is not just in our heads. Because you hear about black holes, the speed of light, as you approach these constructs, these ideas, time slows down. Well, here is a real-world example. Because the black holes, okay, that's great, but we're never going to be there. The satellites in space, though, real-world example. Just 200 miles up, closer than Davenport. This satellite right here is experiencing time at a faster rate than you and I. And the way to think about this is imagine like a sheet on a bed, and you have a bowling ball in it. As you get closer to that bowling ball, time slows down. I mean, think about that. Gravity affects time. Gravity. Gravity is an equation. It is a force. And the force of gravity is related to the gravitational constant multiplied by the mass of the two objects divided by the distance between them. Time is not part of that equation. And we know from Einstein that mass and energy are the same thing. So that's part of the equation, but somehow that is affecting time. That means that time has a physical nature to it. It is separate from us, yet not a fundamental property of our universe. So what the heck is time? They still don't know. Some of the best minds in the world are on this right now. What actually happens in time? And speaking of which, we are now out of our time. So thank you very much.